This is my favorite picture because I can feel this hug. I had to leave Liz with the babysitter, and she didn't want me to go. So she was like wrapping her legs around me.
The memory is bittersweet. Janis McGrory's daughter, Amy's little sister, an A student and cheerleader, gone before her 24th birthday.
And the phone rang. It was the police department. I thought to myself, oh no, Liz has been picked up again. She's in jail. And it wasn't that.
What did the officers say?
He said that Liz was found dead in an apartment with a needle sticking out of her neck.
In a small town near her family's home on beautiful Cape Cod, Elizabeth LeFort's life ended with a heroin overdose. But her path there began with something that seemed much more innocent: recreational use of prescription opioids.
She just said to me, Mom, she said, I wish I had never taken that first pill. I would rather have cancer.
The lure of opioid pills like Vicodin or OxyContin has caused a full-scale drug epidemic in the United States. A study in 2012 estimated that nearly 500,000 people took a prescription painkiller for the first time in the previous year. That means 1,350 new initiates a day.
Who do you blame for this crisis?
Pharmaceutical companies. Absolutely, without a doubt.
What I'm about to tell you could be difficult to believe.
Dr. Andrew Kolotny is the Executive Director of Physicians for Responsible Prescribing and Chief Medical Officer at addiction treatment provider Phoenix House.
We were duped. It was a brilliant marketing campaign that was launched along with the introduction of OxyContin.
The pharmaceutical industry, he says, downplayed the dangers to drive up profits.
From every different direction, you began to hear that if you are an enlightened, compassionate physician, you'll understand that the right way to treat pain is with an opioid prescription. Since 1997, there's been a 900% increase in addiction to prescription opioids.
Kolotny has lobbied for decades for restrictions on opioid prescriptions, along with family members like the McGrorys. Last week, they watched the governor of Massachusetts sign a law limiting initial opioid prescriptions to a 7-day supply and encouraging doctors to try other pain relievers first.
I stand here representing the thousands of grieving mothers who have lost their children to overdoses.
While state and federal authorities focus on new regulations to limit the use of opioids, addicts like Elizabeth, unable to break free, continue to look for ways to get high. That's one of the reasons police say heroin arrests and overdoses are escalating in cities and towns like this one all over America.
Definitely a syringe.
Lieutenant David Betts runs the police vice unit in Chelsea, Massachusetts, a 2-square-mile town across the river from Boston.
We started to see it primarily at the ground level about 5 or 6 years ago.
He says the heroin trade here has exploded.
The drug-dependent people that we come across, for the most part, aren't from our city. More affluent suburbs, Martha's Vineyard, Wellesley, Cambridge, who come here after they run out of their OxyContin supply.
In fact, according to the American Society of Addiction Medicine, 4 out of 5 heroin users begin by misusing prescription painkillers.
So this is the OxyContin?
Correct.
And this is heroin?
Correct.
Which is cheaper?
Heroin.
Lieutenant Betts fully supports the effort to restrict prescriptions.
Limiting the amount of drugs that are available, I think it's definitely going to at least slow down the process. Nobody's immune to this problem. And I realize that, and I've realized this since I've had my own kids. I have 3 kids. So I know I have at least a 33% chance of one of them being affected by it.
Heroin? Heroin? Where would she even get heroin? How does that possibly happen?
And Amy McGrory feels laws like the one in Massachusetts help to reduce the stigma of addiction and could have helped to save her sister.
She had a long struggle. She had a really long struggle with this addiction, and there is a piece of me that is glad that she's not struggling anymore.
She's safe and home.
Yeah, she's
Home
safe
with God
and
right
home.
now.
Yeah.
Al Jazeera reached out to Purdue Pharma, the maker of OxyContin and several other opioid medications. The company told us, quote, "This company accepted full responsibility for the actions some of its employees took prior to 2002 and says it now leads efforts to battle abuse." Purdue Pharma settled a lawsuit by the state of Kentucky last year for its allegedly misleading market practices through 2001, 15 years ago, Tony.
Wow.